QTube, what's going on? You guys are tuning in for another QPL reaction. And in this dose right here, Jonathan Owens, NFL safety for the Green Bay Packers and husband of Olympic gold medalist gymnast Simone Biles, says that he's the prize and she had to work to get him. And we know that set women, black women in particular, off. But before we react to it, you guys already know the drill. Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, share my content with your family, your friends, your colleagues, and your peers so that they can get a dose of the Q pill as well. Without further ado, let's get a dose of this shit. Now, in this gynocentric feminist society, the who's the prize discussion has gained a lot of traction in the past couple years amongst pop psychological discussion and politics. And this is no different here, because when we see a woman elevate herself to a certain level of status on her own without a man, then we assume that that woman has somehow taken on the role of the guy in terms of her popularity and, in essence, her dating value. And it's the most interesting thing to hear women speak about it, because as logical and rational and objective as women tend to actually be, they somehow don't realize that they'll never be the prize over men, because men are simply the dominant sex. No matter what men do, when a woman gets in a relationship with that man, no matter how poor he is, no matter how short he is, no matter how dumb he is, he's still dominant over the woman. It's an unfathomable concept for women to comprehend, but women will never be in a position of authority over a man in a relationship, not in terms of biology and not from the religious perspective. It's just never going to happen. So when this clip was revealed of her husband, who has his own status, his own money, his own prestige from the fact that he's an NFL player, he's a safety for the Green Bay Packers. When this clip surfaced of him saying that he's actually the prize and that Simone Biles had to work for him, social media, black women in particular, went in an uproar because she has more status and prestige than he does, according to them. So let's review the clip and see what elicited such a powerful response amongst black women.
How in the hell did you pull Simone Biles?
Man, it's really how she pulled me, man. That's the question. I'll tell you, organic story, man. So I just got to Houston. I probably have been to Houston 7 months. I was single at the time, you know, so I'm just living, being me and myself. And COVID had just hit, but I had just went to Arizona, and one of my boys are like, hey man, you gotta check out this app, you know? And I'm like, nah, I'll check it out. Like, what is it? It was called Raya at the time. So basically it's like a dating app, but you know, you have to go through certain like criteria to make sure that you're who you are. So literally have been on the app for a couple of days, man, and it's like she pops up and I'm like, let me see who this is. Gymnastics, I ain't never, you know, I never really paid attention to gymnastics, so it piqued my curiosity, you know, so I'm like, okay, I'll see what's up. I swiped her and it said we matched, so I'm just like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna see what's up. So I go do my workout and I come back and I get like, I had some likes on my Instagram, you know, and I'm like, oh, this might be. I'm like, okay. So I see what's up, and then I still waited. I'm like, man, I'm gonna wait till I, you know, take a shower and everything. Then I come back to my phone, and then she messages me on the app, like, hey, you know what I mean? And man, this gotta be fake. Like, I don't know. I didn't know who she was at the time, but like the first thing that I saw was that she just had a bunch of followers. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, she gotta be good. I promise you, I'm a real life story. When she won the Olympics, I was in college, and we didn't have NBC, we didn't have Olympic channels, and we're in camp. Late July, early August, so I'm not paying attention to, you know, so I never would have had a moment to where I would have watched, like, and she messaged me, this was like a Tuesday, and we were texting back and forth, and then we hung out Friday, man, and we couldn't do much as COVID happened, everything was shut down, so she came through down to Houston. She lived in the suburbs, so she had to drive about 45 minutes to me. Then the rest is history, man. So
you was really the catch in
I always say we,
And
the
true.
men, the catch, man. I always say we the catch, man.
Yeah, so she really booked you.
She did though.
Is what you're saying.
Cause I was fighting it. I was fighting it.
So
I was fighting it.
So in truth, if I say this out loud, was Jonathan Owens ain't really want Simone Biles. Is what you're saying.
At the time,
That's what
I'm not gonna say that.
That's what you're saying.
I was afraid. I was afraid to commit. I'm like, man, this is my third year. You know, I'm trying to. I'm like, it's kind of early. But you know, like I said, man, it happened when you least expect it. And we hung out, man. It was like we hit it off instantly.
So you guys heard it there. Now, what the internet couldn't believe is that not only that he said he's the prize over Simone Biles, but that he didn't have any fucking idea who Simone Biles was, which makes sense. I mean, I can't imagine why a bunch of women would believe that a man who has his own life, who's preoccupied with something as busy as being in the NFL, would have time to want to sit down and watch a bunch of muscly women flip and dance on a balance beam. Like, if it wasn't for social media, if it wasn't for the internet, I wouldn't know Simone Biles either. But because I'm in this social media influence sphere, it's kind of impossible not to see her face pop up on gossip pages, talk pages. So because of that, I know who she is. But if I was not involved in the social media circle, the influencer circle, I would have no idea who Simone Biles is either. So we needed to hear from Simone Biles. So here's her saying that he didn't know who she was either. She's clearly corroborating his story, which is not that difficult to believe in the first place. So let's take a look at the clip of her saying he didn't know who she was.
So before I started dating my boyfriend, he didn't know who I was.
Was it on Raya?
Yes, it actually was.
So there y'all see. She admits that he didn't know who she was and that she met him on Raya. She's corroborated his story. It makes sense. Now, the whole he's the prize idea, this whole narrative about men being the prize, well, as I said, that is indeed true. And if we're being honest, he's the prize over her regardless, because everything about the factors that factor into his mate value are weighted heavier or better than the factors that weight into her mate value. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people will find Simone Biles attractive, but Simone Biles is not the prototypical woman that you would find yourself attracted to. One, because of the hypertolerism that her face has, her facial structure has. That's not something that is genetically attractive in most people. Some women can pull it off, but most of the time it's going to lower their attractiveness. Then the fact that she's a gymnast, that in which is not desirable to men. She's all muscle and her waist to hip ratio is non-existent. She's not thick. She's not sculpted. Her silhouette is not appeasing to the male gaze. These are the elephants in the room. But of course, she has a beautiful smile. She has a warm spirit. So that's going to be attractive to any man. Also on his end, this guy, he's an attractive guy. He's in the NFL. He's well paid. He's not in the news, receiving a whole bunch of negative attention. As far as I know, he has no felonious record. And he seems to be a wholesome guy. He doesn't seem to be a guy who's corrupted with getting money, getting bitches, out partying, out clubbing. He seems to have his priorities straight. He seems to be an organized, conscientious guy who's trying to be the best man that he can be. Hence why they hit it off and they ended up married. It makes complete sense. I'll tell you what actually won him over with Simone Biles. The fact that she smiles a lot. The fact that she has a warm spirit. The fact that she's enthusiastic and receptive. Her femininity won him over. Her femininity, her consistency, and her lack of pride won him over. These are the attributes that won him over. She puts her pride aside. She reaches out to him first. They have a conversation. The conversation flows. It's exciting. It's interesting. He's wholesome enough to where he isn't as shallow or superficial as some other guys might be when it comes to a woman's looks. And they just have positive interaction, which results in him taking a liking to her. He grows fond of her. And as you see, this wasn't an overnight ordeal. You guys heard him say he was fighting back. He was trying to resist because he was thinking about his career. He's only in his 3rd season and he didn't really want to be in a relationship. That means that she didn't give up. She put her pride aside and said, I'm going to get this man. I'm going to be sweet. I'm going to be receptive. I'm going to be communicative. I'm going to be understanding. I'm going to be compassionate. I'm going to be caring. All of these qualities can win a man's heart, especially if you're already a wholesome guy and you're open to it. You can absolutely win a man over as a woman. But see, this is what's different about Simone Biles and most modern feminists who have their own education, their own degree, they're independent, they don't need no man. She wasn't thinking like that. Simone Biles wanted to be a wife. And you can see that from the happiness that you see in her pictures, the pictures that they take together, the vacations they go on. You can see these are a genuinely happy couple because that's typically what is required. 2 individuals who genuinely enjoy each other and desire each other. And eventually, that proximity and exposure to one another wins. You're going to end up attracted to somebody that you constantly talk to day in and day out. You're going to end up attracted to somebody that you're vulnerable and open with. And you're going to end up with somebody who you feel likes you for you, accepts you for you. This is typically how relationships between individuals who have an asymmetrical attractiveness in physical appearance and even maybe socioeconomically, maybe politically, this is how they can win each other over. And we see it exemplified here. Whatever she did to win him over, a lot of these modern feminists need to take notes and put that in their book. A lot of these lonely and depressed, stressed and anxious feminists who think they're the prize, who are unaware that men are still bigger and stronger, and men are still the ones who penetrate, and men are still the ones who can elevate your quality of life emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, if you select the right guy. These are the women who need to take notes out of Simone Biles' book. Because that's why men are the prize. Women can't be the prize when they desire somebody more competent than they are. You're literally desiring somebody who's better than you are. How can you be the prize over that? How can you be the prize when a guy elevates your quality of life, elevates the degree of safety, stability, and security you feel, elevates the level of satisfaction that you have? And that's what you expect out of a guy. You expect the guy to provide you with provision, protection, comfort, stability, security. Men don't expect those things out of women. Women expect that out of their men. You're getting more out of him than he's getting out of you. What you're giving him is loyalty, the possibility of a family for his genetic legacy to be continued, support, and somebody that motivates him, that inspires him by knowing that you're in his corner. That's what women do for men. But women are the more vulnerable sex. So acquiring a man is supposed to elevate a woman's life. It's supposed to elevate her quality of life. Men are the prize, and men are going to always be the prize as long as men remain the dominant sex. And no amount of degrees or education or independence or feminism is going to modify that biological fact. So you ladies need to get the fuck over it. Or remain single. Either way, it's your choice. You're the only one who has to deal with the consequences of your delusions. I'll catch you guys on the next dose. I'm Suave Q, aka the Q Pill. Over and out.